Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I'm delighted as usual to be back. And today's video is called Daddy, Please Don't Leave Me. And it's my take on what I would have said to my dad when I was a little girl, and maybe what I can say to dads today on behalf of their little girls. And maybe even the little boys. So stay with me and we will get right into it. If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Olivia S. Benson, and I am the author of this book. I'm actually the author of a couple of books, but this is the one we've been talking about for, I think it's a couple of years at this point, but it's For the Love of My Father. And it is about helping women heal from growing up with an absent father. It's available in all forms, including audio on Amazon, and it's also now on Google Books. Listen, for my followers and my new followers, and for my supporters on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere that I am, thank you so much. And thank you for your comments and for your supportive words. I'm just delighted that my content is getting out there and I can feel like I'm helping people. So here we are on what I call Planet Earth University. And my theory is, and it's just a theory because we really never know, but my theory is that we are all here on planet Earth, hopefully learning lessons. And some of you already know, but I have products on my website. And I promised I was going to stop saying it's my favorite cup because every cup is my favorite cup. But this is one of my favorite cups, and it says proud student on Planet Earth University, because I really think that is what we're all here doing, learning lessons. One of my other favorite cups is I'm willing to do the work to be whole. So check out my website. All the cups are there, and they're intended to help you on your journey, so that you have things that you can look at your cup and say, when those crazy things in life happens, you just shake your head and drink some coffee or some tea and say, all right, I'm a student and I'm learning the lessons that life has to teach me. So that's an important thing, because for me, I felt that I had been through so many difficult life challenges, and I was fortunate enough to overcome them. And I felt it was important. In fact, I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, I can't imagine coming into this life, facing the challenges that I faced, and being able to overcome them and not sharing it with someone. Because one of my favorite sayings is, we don't have to learn every lesson by blows. And if we're willing to share and people are receptive, then everybody's learning curve can be reduced. Much of what I talk about right now is For the Love of My Father, and related to this book, again, with regards to daddy issues. And it's important because it will help us recognize the issue, heal the issue, transform our lives, and create a better version of ourselves. The book also speaks to fathers, and those fathers who've missed the mark. And that's kind of like what I want to talk about in a minute. We're going to get into it. The fathers who've missed the mark and are willing to try to do better. And to be honest, I really do think men are getting better. Also, by the way, in the book, I do talk about mothers, because I think that sometimes men feel like they get all the bad raps, and that mothers kind of get away with some things. And I do talk about the fact that mothers can interfere in the relationships between the daughters, or sons for that matter, and they can do some things that are negative and that are damaging. So I do address that. And by the way, everything that I speak about in this book or any of my books is always about experiences that I've had, things that I have dealt with, and in most cases that I was able to overcome. So I'm not talking about what I heard, I'm talking about what I know in my bones. Now, the in my life, the absence of my dad was huge. It, and I didn't even know it for a very long time. It was sort of like the center of much of the drama and much of the challenges in my life. It was big. And so healing that was also big. And there have been some other major things in my life, including, for example, my work life issues. There was a point in my life where I was completely confused about what I was going to do about work. I was working and I studied and I did all of the things that I was supposed to do, but I was still confused. But we'll talk more about that issue when we get to my other book. So today, the topic, Daddy, please don't go. That's what 6-year-old me would have said. And for those of you who haven't been to my YouTube channel, it's Olivia S. Benson. You can visit it. There's a whole little summary about me, and it has this picture. And this picture is me when I was 6 years old. Now, when I look at it, I'm thinking, my God, what an intense little girl. She's 6 and she looks so serious, and she looks like she's carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. And so you can go to YouTube, and one of the first videos that's posted is sort of like a little summary of my life and the challenges that I face. But this little girl is 6-year-old me. And even today, I could say in my heart of hearts that the thing that I would have wanted to say to my dad is, Daddy, please don't go. Now, I want you to know I never had an opportunity to say that at all. Because as you can imagine, there was a lot of drama. And in my case, my dad just left. And there was following drama between my parents, but there was no way that my voice was going to be heard. Now, of course, it's simple for me to say, Daddy, please don't go, but in retrospect, I know, first of all, that there are many relationships where there's such chaos and the parties really, I hate to say this, but in many cases, they really just don't belong together, right? So as a kid, you could say, Daddy, please don't go, but it's not really the right thing in general. Of course, there's a middle ground to that. I can tell you, my parents did not work together, did not work well together. I talk about it in the book, and I now cannot see the possibility that they would have ever been, a couple that would have stayed together. What I see also now as a mature adult is that it's always possible that a relationship can work. If two people are willing to do the work, it's possible. But my parents, and this is just my opinion, right? My parents would have needed a lot of help and a lot of guidance for them to be able to work through the issues that they had. What I see now is, I say it in the book, by the way, as I say in the book, is that both of them would have needed a lot of help and a lot of guidance. But nonetheless, if I had the opportunity, and if I even had a voice at that time, I would still have said, Daddy, please don't go. Daddy, please don't leave me. And that's what I want to communicate to the dads that are out there today. I mean, to the moms also, because I want you to understand how important this is for your daughters and for your sons for that matter. But Daddy, please don't go is the cry of every little girl. And, there's a middle ground with all of this, because obviously if the parents don't get along, they don't have to stay together just for the kids, right? There's a possibility that dad or mom goes, whoever leaves or whatever the arrangements are, but that they both stay involved in the child's life. So there is a middle ground. We know that. We don't do the old-timey thing where people stay together for the kids for their entire lives and suffer through it and whatever. You can separate and make arrangements, but continue to be in your daughter's life and your son's life for that matter. There's a way that this can happen. Now, the unfortunate thing is that with some men, not all men, some men, there's no in between. Often they end the relationship with a woman and they just want to be away from her and everything that reminds them of her. And I think if you've watched any of my other videos, I've said this before. My dad literally said to me, when the relationship with your mother didn't work out, I wanted to get away from her. And I didn't realize that in running away from her, I was also running away from my children. Well, obviously, that's a mistake. If you're one of those men where you've broken up, the relationship has ended, you don't have to do anything. I would suggest that you consider and connect with the depth of the pain that your daughters and your sons will suffer in your absence. I saw a little girl, a baby actually, being fed by her father. And let's say the dad was sitting in a chair like this and he had her on his lap and he was giving her her bottle. She was quite young. But he's giving her the bottle, and she looked like she was in paradise. She was completely laid out on her dad. And that's not too unusual. But what I found unusual is that not only was she laid out on her dad, but then she placed her hand behind her. That's how relaxed she was, and grabbed on to her father's shirt. And that gave me the sense of a level of connection, the level of connection that tiny little baby had. And that sense of safety that she had laying on her father, with him feeding her and holding on to him. That's something that, is built into her. And I'd like to suggest that if you're a man, you consider what that means. Wouldn't you love to give your daughter, and I have to throw in son, right? But I'm talking from a woman's perspective, and that's why I keep talking about daughters. But wouldn't you like to give your child that sense of safety, that sense of connection that allows them to walk in the world with a certain level of confidence and assurance? Like, that image is my dad's got my back. And, I would like to imagine in terms of the things that I would say to my dad. And I would say, Dad, well, let me put it this way. First of all, on my behalf and on behalf of your daughters, here's the thing. Daddy, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Daddy, I know it will be hard, but I assure you, it will be worth it. And I assure you that at some point we'll have a lot of fun. So, speaking on behalf of your daughters, because my time has already passed, like I said, it's, Daddy, I know it's going to be hard because obviously if the parents aren't getting along, there's going to be some work. But Daddy, I'm worth it. And we can have a lot of fun together. And I think if you've also seen, there's another one of my videos where I talk about that, because I feel that men lose out a lot. I mean, it's a hard situation because when you break up, you just want to get out of there. And you leave the two kids behind, and many times they leave, how many ever kids behind. But then they go do another family, and those kids, get all the attention. But if you really can connect to your children's pain, because these kids are part of you. And if you can understand that, then you would be willing to make the sacrifice, because that's what's required. And that's what love requires. If you love your child, this being that you brought into the world, you brought this being along with whoever your mate was, you brought them in. And for you to pretend like they don't exist and just separate yourself requires you to do something that is very unnatural. And really, love requires sacrifice. And if you're willing to make a sacrifice, then you're willing to do whatever it takes to stay in your daughter's life. And that daughter, who I'm speaking on behalf of today, regardless of what she can or cannot say, would say, Daddy, please don't leave me. This little girl, if she had a voice at 6 years old, when all the drama was happening, because that's around when the whole family situation changed. If she had a voice, she would say, Daddy, please don't leave me. And I'm saying that on behalf of your daughters right now. If you're watching and you have a child, a girl or a boy, I promise you, the only thing they have to say to you is, Daddy, please don't leave me. And I want you to know that it's worth it. The sacrifice of working through whatever needs to be worked through to be able to remain in your children's life is worth it. Like I said before, I often think that my dad missed out on the joys of being a father because he didn't show up. And so later on, rather than, I think I'm done with the picture. Rather than showing up and making the hard choices and doing the hard things, he chose to walk away and walk away permanently. So I hope that you're willing to do something different. Hopefully you don't do that to yourself, because even though it feels good in the moment, when you're running away, so to speak, you're really ultimately hurting yourself, because you're going to miss out. The name of my book is For the Love of My Father. And as you guys know, I'm Olivia S. Benson. You have to put the S, because otherwise you'll see Marissa Hargitay from Law and Order. If you enjoyed this little tiny conversation, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share the video so that it can help other people. That's one of my biggest things, that I think that when we get to the place in life where we have experiences, that we have positive results, we should share. And that's what's important for me. So please share the video, subscribe, and give me a like. My website is Olivia S. Benson. And as I mentioned before, I have cups on my website that you can buy aside from the books. And this one, for example, is I don't have to be perfect to be wonderful. I have Planet Earth University, which I think says a lot about life. If you really get the concept that we are all here to learn, is important. Another big one, I'm willing to do the work to be whole, super important. And I have a right to exist as I am. So if you enjoyed this video, please follow me, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, TikTok, and I don't even know what else, but everything out there, I'm there, and I'm sharing my message. All I can say is, Daddy, please don't leave them. Daddies, please don't leave them. Love and blessings to you, and see you next time.